the new Dell XPS 15-inch laptop may be the best intersection of portability, upgradability, and power on the market today at its price point. I've been using this laptop for about 30 days and have gotten just enough experience with it to develop some strong opinions. So let's talk about a few of the specs and then we'll dive into the experience of actually using the laptop. I got the model with an i7-10875H processor. That's 8 cores and 16 threads. I bought the laptop with 8 gigs of RAM and got my own 32 gig kit from Amazon and installed it myself to save a little bit of money. NVMe storage situation is a really good one. So mine came with a 512 gig NVMe hard drive. There is a second NVMe slot, which was a huge part of the upgradability factor for me, both the RAM and the storage situation. I needed to be able to upgrade the RAM and add storage where needed. I also installed a Western Digital Black 1 terabyte NVMe drive in the second slot. So one note, if you've watched any other reviews or videos on this machine, you'll know that it does not come with a hard drive screw because Dell's saving all that miraculous cash by not including a screw. Whatever. So, and these are both NVMe slots, so they're super fast. They work really well. The graphics processor is a GTX 1650 Ti. Meh. But after saying that, I don't really need, I'm not a gamer, right? So if you watch any of my other videos, I'm not a gamer. If you saw me play games, you would know that I'm not a gamer. But the ability to take load off of the processor and offload that to a dedicated graphics processor is something that was important to me because I'm going to be doing video editing, photo editing, other productivity apps like that. It's not just word processing for me, so I needed some kind of a graphics processor. The 1650 is the only GPU that Dell puts in this model, so we went with that. If I could have upgraded to a 2060, I might have done that, but I'm not sure that I would have just because of the cost. So, you know, some other notables, Bluetooth built in. Every laptop today seems to have Bluetooth built in. AX Wi-Fi, which is super fast. I can attest to that. I'll probably do a review on an Asus router that I recently installed. 3 USB-C lightning ports, which I find incredibly useful. We'll get more into that later. Windows Hello with both facial recognition and fingerprint reader are a lot more beneficial than I thought they would be. So unlocking the laptop for me is basically I look at it. And if you don't want to upload your facial recognition for, you know, because you're afraid the NSA is watching, then it's got a fingerprint reader as well. You don't have to use that either. You can just enter a PIN or enter your password, but I find facial recognition and fingerprint reader extremely useful. It comes with a 720p webcam. Meh. It's fine. It does the job. For most people won't really notice, but sure would like to see laptop makers include a 1080p webcam in their devices. That's kind of the basics of the hardware, and we'll talk about a few more elements. We'll talk about the screen, trackpad, SD card reader, keyboard, and those magical USB-C ports. The screen, the color accuracy may not matter to a lot of people, but for me, I needed something with a P3 color gamut with 100% or close to 100% sRGB coverage. This has that, and that was a big deal for me again because of photo editing, video editing, etc. So the brightness, this thing goes up to 500 nits. So most laptops land in at around 250, maybe 300 nits. So the brightness on this thing is incredible. Let's say you're working from home right now. Not sure how many of us are doing that, but if you're working from home and you want to go sit outside on the porch or something like that, then maybe you can take your laptop outside. Well, that sun puts a glare on the screen. Also, did I mention this is an anti-glare matte coat finish on the screen. So the screen is amazing. And one more thing, it's a 16:10 ratio. So you get just a little bit more space at the bottom of the screen for productivity. Again, that may not sound like a big deal, but you can feel the difference when you're using it, especially when you've been using another laptop that's got that chin on the bottom of the screen. It is a 60 hertz display. If you're looking for high refresh rate, 90 hertz, 120, 144, this doesn't have that. For me, that doesn't matter as much. Again, not a gamer, doesn't matter to me. May matter to you. Trackpad. The trackpad on this thing is pretty fantastic. The trackpad was a big selling point for me. Ironically, takes a little bit of getting used to. It's it's a large trackpad, but it is precise. Multi-gestures are extremely useful, so 2 fingers to scroll left to right or up and down. I do get I don't know if it's a little bit of static buildup every now and then, or if my shirt interferes when it's sitting on my lap. I do get every once in a while, I'll have to remind the trackpad that, hey, I'm here. That's been my only negative experience with that. Full-size SD card reader. Most people, I imagine most people don't use their SD card reader that much. Maybe they do, but if you're using a real camera, then a full-size SD card reader is huge because most cameras take SD cards today. This is a UHS 2 card reader, so it runs really fast. Keyboard. The feel, the layout, it is a backlit keyboard with 2 levels of backlighting. The typing experience here is wonderful. It has got a full keyboard layout, home, insert, delete buttons. The page up and page down buttons are combo on the directional pad. This keyboard is a really nice experience. It's a airy. I don't know I don't know the right word to use to describe the keys, but I'll include some typing footage here. When I'm typing on this device, it seems to flow really well. Is probably the best compliment I can give it. The keys are laid out well, full-size shift keys. The caps lock key lights up. It's got a function lock built in so you can use your function keys. The battery on this thing is an 86 watt-hour battery. I've been able to use it in basic, email, Word document editing, PowerPoint, basic office type work for a full day, no problem. Still had probably 20 to 30% left on the battery at the end of the day, using about 2 levels into the brightness on the screen. Really happy with the battery performance, but the charging. So it comes with a 130 watt USB-C charger, and so it charges over USB-C. For me, that's a big deal because my screen has USB-C built into it. Effectively, with a single cable, I've got charger, display port, and a docking station all in one. Pretty big deal for me to have USB-C with power delivery. That also means that I can take one of those little power banks and plug in on an airplane if I ever get to go on an airplane again. I think every laptop should have some kind of USB-C charging option. Even if you have a barrel port in there for some kind of fast charging, the HP Omen has a 200 watt fast charger. That's great, but let me charge over USB-C. If you have the USB-C port there, then I should be able to charge over it. All right, I digress. Enough on that. My experience after about a month with this device has been really good, and it lives up to what you would expect from the specs. Battery life is good. Runs all day on basic usage. I get about 90 minutes to 2 hours when I'm doing heavy video editing, so you're running a lot of processor, you're running a graphics card at that point. I've got the screen brightness up a little, but it's fast. It runs video editing, no problem. 4K footage, processing that, renders a timeline faster than the total length of the timeline. That's with minimal, processing and images and audio, etc. going on there. But it seems to run really, really well. Before I talk about whether or not I actually recommend this laptop, I think that's pretty obvious, but I do want to mention, I went through 2 of these machines. One had a hardware issue that could not be fixed, and this machine that I have did have to have the graphics card replaced on it. I did have a hardware issue there. So when I talk about using this machine for a month, it's been a month since I got that part replaced, and it's been working flawlessly ever since. I'll post a separate video on my experience with Dell support, and I'll call out, part of the reason that I bought a Dell was if something went wrong with the machine, then I would have, the Dell support experience. Did it live up to what I wanted it to be? Well, watch the other video and find out. For the most part, it lived up to what I wanted it to be. They replaced the unit. They gave me a refund. They did all the things that they were supposed to do. It's just a hassle to have to deal with getting a unit fixed. Yes, I recommend this device. Is it the most powerful device on the market? No, it is not. Is it the most portable device on the market? It might be. I haven't really used an LG Gram or the HP Envy or Spectre, but all in all, this thing carries around really, it's pretty light. It folds up nicely. It's nice and thin. Don't have full-size ports. I guess that's one negative thing about the device. For me, I have no problem plugging in a USB-C dongle and getting, all the extra functionality that I need. But for the most part, I've got my SD card reader built in. I've got power over USB-C, and I don't need to plug in a USB-A stick really ever often at all. If I do, I'll plug in a dongle. It does come with a dongle that has USB-A and HDMI, so that's useful. So yeah, I recommend this device if you're looking for something for productivity, if you're looking for video editing. I think this could definitely fill those shoes. If you're more looking in the gaming approach and you don't mind a little bit more chunk, the HP Omen 15, I'm going to do a separate video on that device, but it is a really strong performer. I found a great deal on it at Best Buy and pulled the trigger on that. And I gotta mention the M1 MacBooks. Okay, I want Windows, so that precludes me from getting a Mac. Yeah, you can run Windows on it. I've actually done that in the past. It was fine, but I didn't want to pay Apple tax. I wanted a discrete graphics processor, but I will say the M1 MacBooks are really impressive based on what I've seen so far. Battery life is really good. The processing power is really good. Can upgrade the RAM, doesn't have extra storage, doesn't have discrete graphics. And it's, it's a kind of a new untested platform. Will I go with an M1 Mac, Apple Silicon in the future? Maybe so. But for today, the new Dell XPS 15, for me, again, is kind of the perfect intersection of power, portability, and upgradability at its price point. If you want to spend $1,800 or $2,000 on a laptop, you can do that and get more. But I didn't want to spend that much. That about does it for this one. I realize I probably didn't answer all of your questions. If you want to leave a question in the comments, I'll be happy to try to fill in for you. I'll run a test on my own machine or help research what I can for you, even if it's not about this machine. Would love to help you guys any way I can. So feel free to ask your questions in the comments below. If you're new here, my name is Michael J. Long. I like to cover principles, products, and ideas that help me make the most of life. So if you got value from this video, I would appreciate it. And it would make me feel really good if you click the like button or possibly subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Thanks so much. See you next time.